And welcome to another edition of Unexplained Cases Live. You've got Rick Garner, Darren, Dedo, fresh off the Arizona mountaintops.
Yeah, I know, man. It was awesome this weekend.
Glad you made it down alive.
Well, it was touch and go.
I heard you huffing and puffing.
Yeah, six miles, 6 miles today. That was a lot.
You know, I was expecting to see more trail videos. You may be falling off the trail.
Dude, it was a little sketch. This was not one where I did not want to. Yeah, yesterday climbing up a rock was okay. This one is like you take one step and it's like, oh, deuces later.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
I didn't want to make breaking news. I didn't want to get airlifted off the side of the mountain.
God,
Emphasis on breaking. You know.
Also, yes, very good.
So we got Maryam the medium and our special guest tonight, a fan, a friend.
Yes.
He's awesome.
It's definitely a fan.
Welcome.
Thank you all so much for having me on the show tonight. Poor Rick. Every week you all go live, I message Rick to be like, oh my goodness, all through down. I'm super impressed with him. He can multitask. I'll tell you that. Yeah.
Thank God we have him because I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
No way.
Because what's really fun is she's commenting in the chat and then she's commenting on my messenger directly about stuff. And sometimes I'm like, why don't you put that over here? Well, no, I wanted to ask you something.
It's not.
I don't want to bother the people.
You can tell when Emily, at least I can tell when she's not there. Like you can. There was one show. Wait, I think there was one you weren't there, and I think I had asked. I could feel nobody. Like I usually can when you're there. I can feel a connection in the audience, Emily, and I could tell you weren't there because there was this. I think I even verbalized. Maybe not. I was like, is anyone out there? I was like, I felt the void. You and our other friend, whose name I can never remember. I just said hi to him on Facebook.
Jaden, maybe? Is it
Jordan?
Jordan.
Same with Jordan. Yeah, you two. Okay, sorry.
She has blue hair, right?
He does. Yes.
He does.
Or he?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, I'm thinking of the wrong person then.
No, he does. He has blue hair. It's a really small picture.
Very striking picture. So yeah.
We haven't heard from him for a while, have we?
He said hi today. He's probably watching.
We did. Oh, okay. All right, cool.
So yeah, I expect him to be coming in here in just a little bit. So hey, Debbie and a Fireball is.
Oh, I love that.
That's Cindy.
Nice.
A Fireball. Her name's Cindy. She does have. But
we always love it when new people stop by. So
yeah.
Hey.
Well, you just scared him off. Thanks, Rick.
I know. I am a particularly tall and unusual drink. Also, Aaron, big fan. Hey, welcome. And Irene as well. So I'm going to step away along with M there and let Mr. Dedo take over the interrogation.
All right.
Oh, here we go.
Hey, Emily, how's it going tonight?
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
So I was trying to figure out, do you go by WTF or What the Frick Live? What do you, the show, what do you call it?
What the Frick, W.T.Frick Live. So What the Frick.
So where did you come up with the idea? I mean, I love the play on words, but you've been investigating for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, let's go backwards. What got you, interested in the paranormal?
I wish I had something really creative to say, but I don't. It's just I grew up in a haunted home and experienced a lot of things as a child. And eventually my parents sold the house and built a new house. They totally told my brother and myself, which I saw more things than my brother did, that all the things that we were seeing and experienced were dreams or it didn't happen. But then as a senior in high school, my dad, I'm a water sign. My dad's a water sign. We're both Pisces. And he finally came out and said, oh, all this and all that and all this, it happened. And that's one of the reasons why we moved. So
was it like a poltergeist or, it was demonic or?
I don't think it was demonic, but there was some poltergeist activity in the home. Lots of whispering and voices, always feeling like you're being watched. There was some movement of objects too in the house. I was losing things all the time too. My bedroom door would slam shut a lot. At nighttime, this was super weird. The basement, and my dad even said he lived in that home about 2 or 3 years single before he met my mother. And he said you would hear this at nighttime. You would hear like a big, huge metal pipe hit the ground, and you would hear it roll and roll and roll. And then it would hit the side of the wall where my bedroom was. And that it felt like that whole wall would shake. And,
oh my gosh.
And he told me I was dreaming, I was in and out of sleep and things, but he heard all that way before I was ever born. So, and that was something.
Did you guys ever do any research to go back and anything about the house or the land or some kind of a, connection to all the activity?
The only research that we had is that my dad bought the house off a woman. She, gosh, I can't remember her name, but there was a bay window in the very front. And my dad said he did everything he could to keep that area warm, and plastic on the windows, all this stuff. He could not keep that whole dining room bay window area. It was always cold. And she would sit in that window, and she passed away in the home. But my dad grew up on that road. I had family that grew up on that road everywhere. And that's the only thing that I've heard of anybody passing away in the home. And but you could hear people walking upstairs if you're downstairs. And that's the only place ever I've heard footsteps to this day in a location too. So I know who lives there now. It's the same.
That's what I was going to ask you, if you've ever gone back and said, hey, are you experiencing anything a little weird?
Well, I know who lives there, and they're really great people. And they're the only ones that have been there. We sold that house in 1996. 95, 96. And here's what's funny. We put it up for sale by owner. 45 minutes. First person came in. They're the ones that bought it. And we were gone. Like they had the plans to build the house. We had to live in separate houses. Everything is sold that fast. And, there was an incident too in the new home. And at that time, my parents started getting back into church and everything. And we ended up having our minister. I didn't know this. They kept it away from us, but a pastor and everything came down and prayed over our house. And we never had anything since then. So.
Wow. So I know you obviously, thank you very much for being a fan of the show. I know Rick said that you have quite a connection with Maryam, because I love reading your comments. When did you learn that maybe you had some kind of a gift? You're sensitive, intuitive. Was there a particular incident or an age you're like, gosh, you were really, kind of dialed into other things, I guess, otherworldly, paranormal? Otherworldly, paranormal, but more spiritual than anything. And it was really, I had seen things all my life, and it was actually going to a spirit-filled church. When I say that, we're non-denominational, and we do believe in speaking in tongues and things like that, kind of lean towards Pentecostal. And I went to Bible college, and I had a spiritual warfare class. I had 2 levels of it. And it was during that time, some things started happening, and then I started connecting the dots with some other stuff going on. I had a great, awesome leader. Her name is Julie, and she directed me and helped me. And I realized then, I'm 21, I think, or 22. And the things that I was witnessing was too heavy. I kind of prayed against it. So I didn't see anything for a very long time after that. I mean, I prayed against it. I'm not ready for this. I can't deal with this. Please, please. I don't want this. If it's a gift of discernment or whatever it is. And then slowly but surely, the last 5 or 6 years, I have kind of opened it back up. I'm a lot more mature now, and I kind of know how to stop things, but Maryam, and I wasn't realizing this was remote viewing, and I've done plenty of investigations, and especially residentials. I'm like, don't tell me what's going on in your house. Send me pictures of the inside of your home and the outside. And when they send me those pictures, I'll read off of them. I email myself, and then I email a friend or message a friend and tell them what I see. Then I go to the location, and then I talk to him, and it's all audio. They don't know anything until I get there. But have you ever walked into a place and you just could sense right away? I mean, maybe not something demonic, but you could feel a presence, energy, like a vibration. Was that, I don't know if you can share that location, if it's if it's a private residence, don't worry about it. But I just didn't know, because you're in Kentucky, correct?
Right.
Yeah. Is there something in the bluegrass state? I mean, one of those that you've had quite an experience?
Yeah. Well, the one locally in my town, the Seton Manor, it was It's a residential home. It's a mansion. It's in our historical district. And I would drive by it. Even my mom, actually, it's by our park. And my mom was a school teacher at Crab Elementary. And this was like 3 blocks away. That was our route home. We'd drive by this house even when I was little. And something about it wasn't bad. Like when I see the house, it's unusual. Like I see loops and stuff in there. I don't know what that means. But
oh my gosh.
Long story short, I drove past it one night and I'm like, I thought this place was closed down. Nobody's living here. It's a beautiful home. And I'm like, I need to get in that house. There's something in that house. I need to see it. So then I was doing, at times, I came in as a co-host on a show called Paranormally Awake on, what was that? Paramania Radio. This was a long time ago.
Okay.
So I drove past that house and I took pictures of it. I sent it to the host of that show. His name is Chad McKenzie. And I said, I have to be in this house. I got to get in this house. So he has a guest on that night. She's a psychic medium, good friend of mine out of Hazard named Sammer Shepherd. Well, Sammer comes on. She didn't tell any of this information at all. I didn't know. Chad didn't know. She was looking for a residential paranormal investigator to help out with events at the Seton Manor on Bath Avenue.
Oh, wow. No
and
way.
that was the same house. So long story short, yeah, I saw things in there. If it was a classic haunting, but you get shadow figures. I saw a animal come up out of the ground of this basement and it was a teal color. Oh my gosh, that's weird. It's a blue color like that. And yeah, I didn't plan on talking about this. It was a blue color like that, came up out of the ground and then it spread its wings. And then it took off through the basement. I'm like, what in the world? It was the first time I seen something like that. And I told Sammer about it. And she goes, I've never seen that. Well, the doctor that bought the house, a few months later, he was cleaning out the attic and he found the blueprint. Blue. Okay.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. He found the original blueprint of the home in 1884, I think it was, or 86. And on the blueprint, it said Adina over it, like in the basement of this house, Adina, and had an X on it. Well, we have Adina burial grounds in our Central Park. And I think those burial grounds went like a mile down the road, all through our historical district. And I think that they either removed them or built on top of them or something. It wouldn't surprise me if that whole block or 3 blocks really have activity. But
wow, that's pretty scary. I mean, they build right on top of those. Oh my goodness. Well, let's talk about you. Let's talk about your show. Love the name. What's the idea behind it? What do you like to chat to people, or spread the love in the para community, or to learn more about it?
Obviously, I like to talk. So
really, I didn't know that.
Rick wouldn't know it either. But I actually have been part of a couple teams throughout the years. And then my best friend, her name's Tiffany, they started calling us Frickin' Frack.
Okay.
So I have Frickin' Frack Paranormal, which is just myself and her. We don't do much anymore. She's moved away. But I spinned off a show called What the Frick to go with Frickin' Frack. So I started it just out of boredom, really. And really, I think the first or the second guest I had on was Philip Syracusa. Yeah, Philip Syracusa. And I was shocked. He messaged me and said, "Hey, can I come on your show?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then it just went on and went on and went on. And then I got on to Paranormal Warehouse almost 2 years ago. And I love Paranormal Warehouse. I highly still support them. I'm sad. Obviously, you all.
Yeah, I know. It's a bummer.
That's how I got to know you guys, though. And
I know.
Oh, go ahead.
No. I was going to say exactly. And then obviously, I almost call you a contributor because you're, we love having you in your comments. But not only that show, aren't you doing some stuff with the error messages? I was trying to figure out what the error. Are you working with groups across? Yeah, because I'm like, at first I'm like, what does that mean? But then I saw you have other error messages. Are those groups around the country that you're working with, or starting your own groups?
I started a network and I've had 4 teams. I've had 1 in Ohio, my Kentucky team, or 2 in Ohio, Kentucky, and then Florida. And I had started this network of teams about a year or so ago, year and a half ago, and it was a different name. Unfortunately, obviously, like it always happens in the paranormal field, you break off and you have difference of things. And so I sent Facebook a message saying I want to change my name back to the original names. Facebook wouldn't let me do it. So
I know they get that way, huh?
Yes. And so I had to write a letter of appeal. So then I get the message back. It was like took 2 weeks to get a response. And this is just recent. And they said, okay, we'll let you change the name back. And I thought, do I really want to change it back? Is this a whole new thing? So I'm talking to one of my friends and I'm trying to get into this website and it keeps saying error 404, site not found.
Oh, of course.
And daggone Adele came on. Hello. You know,
oh no,
it's me. And that's how it came up. Yes, and error 404, hello from the other side, is the main network. And now there's 2 teams in Ohio, Kentucky, Florida, Virginia, and New Mexico, and we're getting ready to add. And that's Valerie. She's error 575.
She's representing. Very nice. That's awesome. That's great.
Yes, and she's awesome too. She has gym metaphysical shows and stuff during the week. Beautiful crystals and rocks and things she sells. And we were supposed to have a meeting today of all the directors, and I had no internet because the wind. Oh. And like right at 8:30 or so, my son let me know that we had internet finally. So
you're like, ah. Well, yeah. Now we're talking before the show. We're gonna do a remote viewing with Maryam of the Black Dahlia's house, Dr. George Haddell, without getting into it too much. When did you become fascinated with that case? Was there something you read or you studied, or you saw a movie or a TV show? Just curious what really got you interested in. I mean, it's a very famous case. I mean, everybody, a lot of people know it, but boy, it's a dark one, man. It's a horrific story.
And it's unexplained. And
yes,
unsolved.
Absolutely.
Unsolved. So I was like, this is perfect for tonight. But I became intrigued with it. I remember my grandmother on my mom's side talking about it a little bit. And she always felt like, I don't know, not necessarily, like she always felt that girl, because I think that they portray her wrong as someone like have slept around a whole lot or things like that.
Well, yeah, some people thought she was a prostitute and yeah.
But my grandmother always felt like her story was never told. And I remember her talking about some of that a little bit growing up. But honestly, it was like early 2000s or something. It was on Ghost Adventures for the first time. I think it's been on there 2 or 3 times now. And I live alone at this time. I was not married. I didn't have a son then. And I just remember, it was the little apartment I had. I remember I don't know what it was. It freaked me out and I got panicky. I couldn't breathe. I felt like lung issues and I had to flick on the light. I still turn the lights on if anything is on TV when it deals with the Black Dahlia. Really? I see her, and we can talk about it when Maryam comes up here too, of some things that had happened. So it's just spooky. And the place, the house looks like a beehive or something.
The Jaws house, right? It's supposed to be like a shark's mouth or something opening. Yeah.
It looks like something. They call it, I think it's an Aztec, Mayan.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it is. It looks like a temple.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Rick. It's Rick and Maryam. Hey. It's hip. It's happening. It's a Sunday night. Unexplained Cases Live. Glad you could join us.
I mean, see, well, this is what happens.
This is the segue.
You go out into the middle of the dunes and you get all energized, and then you come back.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
See, that's perfect. See, well, at this time, before we move on to remote viewing, we often have a little surprise, and we'll bring in Angela. Angela, what's going on?
Angela.
Hey, good evening.
So in case folks, we do have some new folks tuning in. So
awesome.
Angela is one of our special guests. She is a psychic artist, which has fantastic talents. And in this particular case, all I have to do is give her Emily's picture, obviously her first and last name, and her city and state. And then at that point, then Angela is able to do her
Voila.
talents. And this is what she has for you.
Oh, that's pretty.
Oh, wow, that is pretty. I love the dragonfly.
You know, I should have brought tissues. Oh, okay, go. I'm sorry. That's beautiful. I was worried. I've seen some of your paintings, Angela, and you are very talented and gifted in what you do. I'm. This was the part that was going to make me nervous.
See? So Angela, explain this portrait to us.
Sure, there's no reason to be nervous here. What I kept picking up very strongly was an animal totem, in this case an insect totem, the dragonfly. It's a very powerful totem. Teaches regeneration, self-realization. The dragonflies and also in mythology have been called the weigher of souls. And so this dragonfly is here to help you with your journey, your spiritual journey, especially in the self-realization and regeneration. Especially when you have the dragonfly in particular helps regenerate after a difficult time has passed. But this is renewal, self-actualization, self-realization, the fullness of your being. And then I was also shown the flower as well, which is a water lily. And the water lily is a symbol of love and life. So this is very spiritual, and it is a part of your spiritual growth and development is basically what this image is showing, where that direction is going for you.
Wow. I needed to hear that.
That's really
I will tell you, I have two favorite flowers, the lily and the sunflower. Those are my two favorites.
Oh, neat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's beautiful. And red's my favorite color too. So
yeah, Angela's always spot on.
it's beautiful.
Thank
you.
Cool.
Thank
That
you.
was awesome. Thanks, Angela.
I was happy to do it for you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You're gonna tear up. I'm gonna tear up on that. It's good.
Hey, well, that's okay.
When you know you've done a good job.
Yeah.
That's right. There can be crying in the paranormal. It's okay.
there can be. I've seen a guy cry once too. So
Hey, Rick does it all the time when we go on investigations. I have a lot of tissue that I bring.
Right. I'm usually in the corner sniveling.
That's right, exactly.
Right. So,
yeah.
Awesome. Now Angela is actually going to head back into the green room because she's going to be working on another painting based on the remote viewing, and
This
who
should be
knows
interesting.
what is going to come out of that. So
Oh
that's
my gosh,
always an extra
yeah.
special surprise.
Yeah, especially tonight.
All right, so Angela, I'm sure you're ready for this one, so I'll send you back and we'll check in with you in a little bit then.
Right.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
All right, so hey, I'll step out and hand the baton over to Maryam.
Okay.
All right, so let's see, Darren.
Yeah, it's Elizabeth Short. She was found murdered on January 15th, 1947. We'll get to the house in just 1 second, but I just wanted to let people know if they didn't by chance. Her murder is frequently called one of the most well-known unsolved murders in American history, as well as one of the oldest unsolved cases in LA County. Of course, it's been dubbed the Black Dahlia because apparently there was something after an owner of a drugstore in Long Beach, California, told reporters that male customers had that name for her. As newspapers of the period often nicknamed particularly sensational crimes, the term may have originated from a film noir murder mystery, The Blue Dahlia. I didn't know that until I started looking into that. Now, this is the house that some believe where she was murdered. This is the house that was owned by Dr. George Hodel, a Los Angeles physician who was a prime suspect in the case, although he was not publicly named as the killer, let's just put it that way. But his son, who was an LAPD detective, came out in the late 90s after finding some pictures of his father's that showed a woman that appeared to be Elizabeth Short. And so I think he wrote a book and some other things about that. And so he thinks his dad might have done that and some other things. So long story short, she had a terrible death. It was just really, her corpse was mutilated, bisected from the waist. Some people thought that's why Dr. Hodel did that. Maryam, have you left me? Are you still there?
I'm sorry, my phone's losing batteries.
I'm like, am I boring you? This is only one of the most famous cases of all time.
I know. I'm sorry.
So here, long story short, this is Dr. Hidell's house. Obviously, somebody
my phone's about to die.
Oh no. Okay. Well, let's get to it then. So Elizabeth may have spent her, final moments on Earth in this house, and she might have been killed there. It's never been proved. So tonight, we'd love to see if you can remote in there and see what you find out. And Emily, I'm sure you've got a question for Maryam, if you'd like to find out some information.
You know what? I'm sorry to do this. Let me switch phones because this one's about to die for some reason. And let me put my other phone.
It could be a sign. There might be something something going on here.
Let me log out. I'll log back in. I'll be right back.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll talk to Emily. I know you haven't been to the house. Do you ever have any visions or a connection, or is there something inside there that you're like, gosh, I would really like to know, what's going on there? Maybe Maryam could find out.
Well, I see her. She's panicked and she's running down that main hallway. She's saying it's a maze, and I feel like she's wanting to draw a maze out, and she doesn't know which way to go. She was drugged, and she was totally awake and aware of everything that was going on. She couldn't verbally speak. God. I feel like she was paralyzed. But when she's running down the hallway, I see her hair. She has some bruises on her face. I know her mouth was cut. I don't see blood, but she has a lab jacket or a white robe on. It has red lettering on it. And I can't see the lettering, but she's panic mode. And then she goes to this room where she kind of halts and stops. And I haven't seen this room on any of the investigations with these shows, but there is a partition there that's Aztec, like the building itself, but it's almost like a doctor's waiting room too. It's like,
which makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Because of, him. Yeah.
There's chairs there, but you go around this partition and there's a door and you go in that door, and I can't go into that door, but there's a wall there too on the side. And I don't have this gift of touching things. But for the only time ever, I feel like she wants me to touch that wall, and there's more. And I don't know what that means.
That's interesting. Do you have any theories about, what happened, where this guy was not a good guy. I mean, he obviously supposedly attacked, sexually assaulted his daughter. Right. He may have killed. Some people think he killed his secretary because of some kind of financial shenanigans. I also read some quotes from certain, police officers, detectives, that they pretty much thought it was him, but he fled, right? He went to Philippines or something. And
he fled, but he got wrote off too with his daughter, though. Did he pay these people off? Because, he wasn't.
True. Yeah, that's a good point.
So he had money.
Yeah. So not a good guy. So Maryam, you're back. Thank goodness.
Okay. Sorry. Gosh.
That's okay. I don't know if you heard any of that this is the doctor's house where Elizabeth might have been murdered. It was never proven. Dr. Hidell was a suspect. He was never charged. He was never indicted, grand jury, nothing like that. But his son, who was a former police detective in L.A., was going through some personal belongings of his dad, came across some photos. They look like Elizabeth Short. And so he's done a lot of research, and he thinks his dad might have been involved. He may be the killer, long story short. So this is his old house. And this could be the scene of the crime. And I mean, Emily and myself would love to find out what you can tonight.
Mm-hmm. All right, let me go. Let's see. What's her name? Elizabeth?
Yeah, Elizabeth Short. But the Black Dahlia, that's what a lot of people, but it was not her name. It was a nickname. Yeah.
Okay.
She got that nickname prior to the incident too. So she had that beforehand.
All right. I think this is Elizabeth I'm talking to right now. I'm talking to someone who's really angry, female. Feels like Elizabeth. She's really angry.
Did she look injured? Did she say anything about, why she's angry?
all sorts of confusion, misrepresentation, incorrect information, treated really poorly. She was, the relationship was abusive. Hold on. Her son was the cop?
No, it was the doctor, Hoodell, who,
His son?
Yeah, his son was the cop. Yeah. But I mean, obviously years later, I mean, this happened, back in 47, I think. Yeah.
All right. So, okay. So so hold on. There's just a lot of confusion right now.
Oh.
There's a lot of confusion, a lot of aggravation. She says there's even, so many people have claimed to have spoken with her, but it was never her. That her story, she says, like, I don't even care if my story's told. I just want it to be known that that guy, that man, that's George, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He was the doctor. Yeah. It's his house back then.
Okay. She just wants people to know that George is responsible, 100% responsible. Did he actually kill you? Is that what you're saying? She's like hysterical.
Yeah.
Hold on. She's really hysterical and has just been, have you been here? Just what have you, why? Oh, I'm talking to her guides now. She hasn't moved on because the hysteria. She had a child or she lost a child. Which one?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever. She was
No
what?
kids?
She didn't have. I know she didn't have children. So if she lost one, miscarried or something.
Miscarried, yeah.
Well, but he was a. It may not be directly linked to her,
it may
but
not
wasn't
be.
he was a? Didn't he perform
OBGYN?
Didn't he do abortions illegally or yeah?
Oh my gosh! What if that's how they met?
Yeah.
Nobody's ever talked about that.
Yeah, she's lost a child. And I'm feeling a little bit like that was forced upon her. She didn't want to lose the child. She didn't want to give it up, but she was forced to. I don't feel like she's saying that's how. She's hard to follow because she's so upset. That's not how they met, but he forced that on her. There was no way he was going to allow her to keep a child for some reason. This is where it all started from. This is where it started from. This is when it started to go downhill. This is when it started to go bad, was when she was pregnant and she wanted to keep it and he wouldn't let her.
Was it his or?
Yeah, I'm not understanding at all where this stuff's coming from about her sleeping around and being like that. He was abusive, verbally, physically.
Oh yeah, he was a bad guy. Yeah,
scared for
his family too.
Scared for her life a lot of the time. He spread all the rumors. Well, there you have it. Those are rumors. He spread them. He went around telling people that she was a whore and was cheating on him and sleeping around. That was his reasoning. That's why he was so angry. That's why he would say he would get so angry. That's how he would justify his behavior around her. But she did not, that was not her. She got caught up in a bad situation because her father was abusive also. So she just simply repeated that pattern. But this was, this all started when she got pregnant.
Did it happen in the house where this all went down? Because her body was found in a vacant lot. So
yeah, she's saying she doesn't remember who actually killed her. She can't make out their face, so she doesn't know if it was him or not. She says, I don't think he has. he was too weak of a man. She said, I don't think he had the guts to actually follow through with something like that.
Oh.
So she's saying, I don't think it was him. It was just someone he hired.
Danielle says he forced the miscarriage abortion. I guess that's what she's thinking that happened. I mean, that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, he forced her to
cut her in half.
He threatened her life if she didn't get rid of the child, so he forced that on her. But that's when it reached a new level of abusive behavior. Was then. She said she met somebody and actually fell in love with someone while she was still in this marriage with George, and she met someone who was trying to help her get out of the relationship. It was like the first time she met someone who wasn't abusive, who wasn't like her pattern. And the George found out. He spied on her a lot. He had people spying on her. He found out she was with this man. That's where the rumor started. That's where he started rumors that she was a whore and that she was sleeping around, but she wasn't. She had actually fallen in love with somebody else.
Just a quick, this just came to me too. Was she cut in half because she was pregnant? Was that the abortion?
Goodness.
That's disgusting.
Oh my
I know.
God.
Maybe that's where the hysteria is coming from. Yeah, maybe.
Oof.
Maybe because yeah.
Well, because when I see her, she was fully awake. She couldn't talk though. There was something wrong. Like, I don't know. Maybe that the cuts on her mouth happened then, or he just drugged her. She was definitely drugged, but she's looking. There's a person behind him. She's in this, like, it looks like a surgery room, really, but it's at the house, and he has a face mask on and stuff too. So that kind of what I see, and I'm obviously I don't know if I'm right or not, but so what you're saying makes sense, Maryam.
So everything you just described is what you're intuitively seeing.
Yes.
I see. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. There's confusion around. I mean, you bring up a solid point, actually. I didn't realize she was cut in half. That may have, you know, because I feel like one of two things, that either he forced the abortion on her, you know, and she couldn't fight back because she was scared for her life, and so she allowed him to do that to her, or absolutely what you're saying, because she's saying it all started once she was pregnant. It all escalated. So if you were saying like you saw him with the mask on, and as if, like, he was the one that killed her.
I see his eyes. But there's a person behind him. I can't tell if it's a male or a female, but it's kind of like they're standing in the shadow of the light. So I don't know. That could be him behind the person with the mask, but the eyes are definitely a sharp eye. Like it's a piercing, like,
yeah.
shoot.
I mean, she's saying that she didn't, she's saying that she doesn't believe he had the strength, the courage. He was a weak man to actually follow through and kill someone. But she's saying that there's definitely two people involved, him and somebody else, for sure. I'm with you on that. They feel to me both masculine. I'm trying to I'm calling in my guides too, because she needs a lot of support. I don't think we should leave her in this state. She's been left in this state for so long.
Is she wearing anything, Maryam? Does she have a robe or anything on?
Just a white, like a nightgown type. Okay. White, like a nightgown. She's saying saying that what you were saying, Emily, she's showing me that him in front and who murdered her standing behind him. And so she's saying that you're right about his eyes and him being there. But she's like, I just don't believe he'd have it in him to kill me, not because he cared about me, but because he was a weak man.
So he
and
paid
that's-
somebody? Could he have paid somebody?
Yeah,
Danielle
I
had
mean-
asked about
Mhm.
paying a man to do the deed, like a
Yeah,
hitman type thing.
Hitman.
Yeah, but there was two people there, and he's standing in front, and I'm feeling all the force coming from him. That's where I'm getting a little confused. I'm feeling the energy and the force coming from him. So he was clearly, and I mean, I guess at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. He was there. He did it. They're both responsible. Like,
He directed
both
somebody
those
to do it. He might have paid this
Yeah.
person to do it. Yeah, he's an accomplice. I mean, yeah, he committed
Yeah,
murder.
they were both equally responsible for this.
Well, I mean, he's also a surgeon, so in how she was cut and everything, a doctor had to do it. So I think that he probably directed or told the person. Maybe it was a student.
This guy
Good theory.
feels like a thug, but like I said,
Okay.
the force and the energy is coming from him. So he was more involved than not, and I don't think she's correct in saying that he didn't have the guts or the strength to do it. I think she's wrong. I think he did. I think because I'm seeing and feeling the second person standing behind, but I'm just not feeling any action from that person.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I'm just not feeling any action or movement from that person. I'm feeling it all coming from him. He did it.
So he's not anywhere near her anymore, is he? I mean, he's not torturing her in the afterlife.
No.
Thank goodness.
Okay.
No, her right now where she's at and her hysteria is it's interesting. They're saying what's keeping her in this kind of hysterical place, in this hysteria is the fascination with this case and the amount of people that have tried to connect with her and some have successfully. And it's just, she thinks that when people connect with her, that it's her way out somehow. And so she continues to connect when people reach out. But then there's also been people that have thought they communicated with her and it hasn't been her. So what I want to be able to do is remove her because she's looking for a way out. She's looking for help to get out of where she's at. So Olivia, one of my guides, is first and foremost my most maternal guide. She came in a while ago and has been over her. This woman doesn't have any maternal support. Part of the reason why her guides are present but they're not near her is she hasn't allowed them near her. She's stuck in this karmic loop, and she looks to mediums she knows that these people that like myself that are communicating with her are a way out, she keeps saying, but they haven't brought her out. They haven't let her out. So I'm going to do that right now. All right. So Emily, you, before we went on air, I said that you looked like her, and I want to understand what your connection is to her. So,
I don't know of a true connection other than just I've always been drawn to the case, drawn to her, and there's a couple other cases that have similar victims and how they were treated or murdered. And I remember my grandmother talking about her when I was younger for a moment, that her story wasn't told or she didn't think that it was, and then I don't know. It's just that one day I watched a show and she just came up out of nowhere. I kind of relate to her when it comes to bad relationships and things that she's gone on in life with her, because she was married before too, and her picker's off. So my picker's off, and I kind of relate to that.
Okay, so let me find out what the.
Hey, real quick, Maryam. Angela's dialed in here for a second. This is a picture. Go ahead, Angela. What are we seeing?
Okay, so I'm picking up this woman at this location. Now, I don't believe she's Elizabeth Short, but I believe she's one of the victims. And she's telling me there were many, many more that he poisoned. he starts out with photography, taking pictures of them, becomes more and more abusive, keeps offering drugs. But this woman says there were many victims. There were other victims of George in particular, and she wanted me to paint her like this and to remember her blue eyes.
Whoa.
That looks like
Wow.
Elizabeth, but Elizabeth had blue eyes or green.
But you never know. Emily could be
Yeah.
the what was it, the secretary, and then if he had done some of these other murders, like in Cleveland, there might be multiple victims in several locations.
Being drawn to is the bedroom, and I actually got extremely emotionally upset when I saw the bedroom because I seen it in a different manner. I was seeing some blood splatter on the wall and on the floor, on the bedroom, and like it just had the worst, most dreadful feeling there, and I feel like I have to go back there to get more information of what's triggering that, because it was very disturbing. And this woman is coming. This woman is quite calm. I feel like she's a victim that's moved on, but she's coming back to try to help solve this case and to try to put everything to rest. And I get a different name. I don't believe it's Elizabeth. I think it's a different woman. It's more like it keep getting like a C name, like a Carolyn or a Caroline, something of that nature.
I don't know his secretary's name or anything, but
no, I don't either.
I just thought I heard something. Oh, it's Rick coming on. I was like,
I was just saying that I think that this is a great transition point then, basically, to Maryam, for you to proceed with what you were doing, and maybe between Emily, between Angela, and anyone else in the comments can actually help with that.
Yeah, I got to go back. Let me see if I can go back. Hold on. I left off with trying to determine what the connection is with Emily. I lost that. We'll maybe do that another time. Most important right now is that I help her pass over. So, okay, so let me go back. I have okay, so I kind of lost her first. I lost her. I'm sorry. I got someone else. I don't know. I don't know what happened there.
Is it maybe the confusion and the kind of running around and, don't really know what's happening? It's so chaotic. Did you say it was kind of chaos?
Yeah, I think I was disconnected for too long. I got to go back in. You guys can talk amongst yourselves while I do that.
I keep picking up. This woman is telling me her name is Carol Ann. She's being very clear about it. Carol Ann.
Okay, Carol Ann.
And she was 17.
Real quickly too, what's interesting with this also is that we have doctors in our history too that are serial killers and and things, and they have crafted their skill. They went to medical school. They write letters and things. I'm gonna share my screen here, Rick, if you can pull it up.
Like H. Holmes, for example.
And this is okay. H. Holmes. That's a digital drawing of the descriptions of Jack the Ripper, and that's Hodel. Don't they look like brothers? Right?
Yeah.
Hodel is the far right. That's far Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper had like 20 in the middle. Jack the Ripper had like 20 some witnesses that saw him. They took the witnesses' descriptions and made a digital drawing, and then H. Holmes is there the first one. So I think that we're dealing, me personally, and this is crazy for me saying, I don't know, that I've never said this before. I think that we're dealing with a very demonic entity that is like it's familiar. It shows itself up over and over in time.
Wow.
But
I
What do you guys think about that?
Okay.
I mean, and a demonic entity would seek a host. A host that is with a certain traits that it wants, a certain mindset. So it would make sense. It would seek out familiar men or that fit a certain profile for him or for it to attack. That's particularly hateful towards women and abusive towards women and likes power, control, and suffering. That bedroom was awful in that room, and
And Angela, you said you thought that she was poisoned. Is that right?
She kept telling me poison. So that's for drugs, basically.
Right.
And
Well, no, I was going to say that the police, his secretary, I guess her name was Ruth Spalding, and she died from poisoning.
okay.
So I just thought that was interesting. That
Right.
maybe there's a connection.
Wow.
Yeah.
She said poison. She said he starts out with, he likes to target young women and he likes to photograph them, exploit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
them.
It was a drug overdose. I'm sorry, but we also have been talking about him drugging his victims, right? Don't we think that's what happened to Elizabeth?
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's
Poison them.
yeah. She was drugged, but she was. I'm sorry. She was fully awake, like she could see. I don't know how long it was for her to bleed out or anything. She couldn't respond to it though, and she didn't feel pain. Hold on, she didn't feel pain at that time, but she was drugged. What I pick up.
The thing I've always wondered for years was, did the crime happen in the home, or did he drug her and take her to that field and do it? I don't know if you guys pick up on any of that. I'm curious. I've always wanted to know if it happened in the vacant field or if it actually happened in the house.
Can I interrupt for a sec?
Yeah.
I'm trying to pass her over, but with the conversation happening, it's holding her there. And I don't want to keep her anymore. So if we could all just focus on allowing her to move on, and then we can kind of go back to that and figure out those details. But I just, out of integrity for the work, I gotta let her go. That's what I came in to do. That's why I connected with her tonight. And Emily, I'm sure there's a piece in there because there's a connection that you have to her. I don't know what that is right now, but if we can all just take a minute, and she's just been sitting in the same position. I have my guide, it's an archangel wrapped around her. She's still sobbing. She wants us to be over. She wants us to be over. It doesn't mean that we can't talk about it, but we have to let her go first. So I want everyone to just release your thoughts from her for a moment and just send her love. And if you don't know what that feels like, imagine just hugging her. Just imagine yourself holding someone and holding a female energy, and just comforting them, someone who's scared and lost and hasn't had any connection or anybody around her for God knows how long, and who didn't have that in body either. So Olivia is going to be the one. She's master right now. She's going to step in. She's going to move her, lift her up. So I need everyone to visualize her lifting her head and lifting her shoulders. She's not lifting her head. She's not looking up. She's not looking up. She needs to be able to look up, bring her shoulders back, literally look up so she can move up. There's two more beings that are behind Olivia, that are assisting, just explaining to her the karma's over. This is over. This is done. None of it matters anymore. What, when, or how. It's over. She's asking for her child. Okay, that's why she's there. All right. Let me see if I can connect with your spirit child that you lost. Let me bring her in. It was a girl. You guys were sisters in another life. She was going to come back. She knew that it wouldn't last long. She knew that this wasn't going to be this time around, but we need you to help her. It's like an L name, Lucy or a Lucille or something. Now she sees her. Now she's lifting up. She was waiting for her child. Okay. Now she's going. She was waiting for her child. She says, I don't care what he did to me. I care what he did to my baby. She can't go back and make it right. It's done. Okay. She's leaving with her baby. That's what she was waiting for. That's what she was waiting for, Lucille. She's good. It's taking. She's not fully gone yet. I think I've now, after that kind of connected me. I'm having trouble disconnecting from her now because of that moment. Okay, I'm gonna force my disconnect right now. I have to. Okay, go ahead. You guys can continue.
Wow.
Real quickly, my grandmother's name was Lucille.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, well, there's your connection.
If I was going to have a little girl, I was going to name her Gemma Lucille. And so, thank you, Maryam.
Yeah, there's obviously, you guys are all intertwined there. That's a deeper moment discussion.
Thank you, Maryam, for all that you do. Wow.
One of the more emotional moments for our program, for sure. My goodness.
Yeah.
Everyone, thank you for participating in that. Just in the few moments that we have left, Angela, thank you so much for helping out tonight, as you always do.
And I want to really quick before you go, Rick, Angela, thank you. I felt your, you are really, really, really powerful being. And thank you for helping her. Thank you. I felt you. Thank you.
I was happy to help. I just handed her a white rose that she could look at, and I lifted up the white rose so she could lift her head up to see.
Thank you for that.
Sweet.
Yeah, absolutely. And some folks were asking how to get a hold of you. I dropped in the URL in the comments. We had it running earlier, but for folks who want to be able to appreciate her talents, reach out to Angela via that way. We only have a few minutes left. Emily, how can folks find you? Where are you at on all the URLs and stuff?
The easiest way is just go to my Facebook page, really, for right now, at facebook.com/W.T.Frick live. And you can find me there. I'm live every Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Pun, yay, and the Afterlife Network. So every Friday.
Awesome.
Cool.
My next guest, I have ghostquest.net, Brian Weaver, next Friday.
Oh, fun.
All right.
Next Friday. So, and Maryam, as always, I think that this is why we do what we do. So I think it's from my chair, it's an honor and a pleasure to be a part of these moments. So thank you.
Yeah, it was special. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Everybody, thanks for joining us again. Next week, we're actually going to be out of the office for next Sunday night, but you will be able to tune in to Unexplained Cases Medium at 4:30. Meanwhile, have yourself an awesome evening. Bye, everyone.
Bye.